You may have had a rude awakening with the thunder and the lightning overnight in places like Montreal and to the Oakville area. Storms are continuing to come throughout the day today, beginning to pop up now. We're going to show you this live here on the Weather Network in just a minute. Saphia Khambalia with you. We're glad to have you with us as we track this storm, try to keep you safe out there today. It is very, very hot as well. We hope that you're staying hydrated and staying cool. And remember, if a storm comes, you want to find a safe place to be indoors. Okay, so we're looking at radar. Currently, just in the last 15 minutes or so, we're seeing activity through the Stratford area and even in towards eastern Ontario. If you're looking into the Pembroke area, new watches and warnings popping up by the minute really here. Of course, issued by Environment Canada, just newly under the watch area. Hamilton, London, Windsor, Essex, around this area and extreme southwestern Ontario expected to be one of the first places for this potentially potent line of storms to come in. And then I want to point out the warnings, of course, issued by Environment Canada, letting you know that conditions are not just favorable, but either imminent or happening. Now, there is a storm just north of Chalk River, so the areas of East Algonquin Park should be on the lookout. We're thinking that this could move into Quebec within the next 30 minutes to hours. So you want to keep it locked here on the Weather Network. We're live streaming online as well. Here's how it plays out over the next 24 hours or so. You want to watch the sort of yellows and the formation of this storm. Of course, it clears late into the overnight. Later, if you are in the eastern Ontario and eastern townships area, high pressure really the story for your Monday. Should be a pretty good Monday. You could have some stray showers come Tuesday or so. Let's continue on with today. Now, this isn't to say that everybody in this risk area is going to see a storm, but this weather, active weather, does have the chance to escalate quickly. So if you do see a storm approaching, make sure that you do have some sort of shelter that you can go to. Potentially potent storms, northern shores of Lake Erie, and we've had active weather really coast to coast, and it has been very, very warm as well. There's a lot of hot, moist, buoyant air, perfect ingredients for a heat warning, for potentially active weather. A lot of you have been talking about this heat. Most certainly the hottest weekend of the summer thus far in southern Ontario, and heat and instability is what you've had in many of the prairie provinces as well. A little bit of everything. These are water spouts on the lakes. The Interlake region is where that was yesterday. A lot of people were out on the beach. The risk is there again today for some potentially severe weather. Probably not as bad as yesterday. And again, we could have some instability for you in the foothills and the interior of BC as well. We continue to be all hands on deck and track this for you if you can stick around. Yes, we are in live storm watch coverage here on the Weather Network. Saphia Khambalia joining you. Thanks for watching us today, of course, online, live streaming, theweathernetwork.com as well. Let's dive right into what's happening in southern Ontario. Potentially potent storms on the way. Many people could be affected. We want to get the safety message out there as well. There's a lot of events happening. It's a weekend, and you can see convection already, and this is just the last couple hours here. And I want you to watch what happens around the London area, Stratford. Storms already starting to come through that area. And then watch around through eastern Ontario. You can see some bubbling up on the radar there as well. There will be two waves beginning again late afternoon, early evening. Watches and warnings issued by Environment Canada. We are bringing them to you live here on the Weather Network, newly added to the watch category, again meaning that conditions are favorable for potentially active weather. Areas like Hamilton, Windsor, Essex, Chatham, Sarnia, Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge. Many of you on social media telling us, oh, the clouds are already starting to come there as well. Storms beginning to pop up in the Pembroke area. And look, warnings issued by Environment Canada as well. East Algonquin Park, Deep River, Whitney. Again, be cognizant that conditions are not just favorable, but the storm is either happening and on the way, and our teams are on the ground to track this active weather for you, including Mark and Jacqueline. Yes, all the ingredients are in the pot, ripe for some potentially potent storms. As we've been saying, watch what happens to this air mass as we move into the overnight period and into Monday. Again, that line of storms clears overnight. A new air mass, a fresher air mass will come in. It's going to feel more like the 30s as opposed to the 40s that you've been feeling the last day or two. Yes, it's been feeling very, very, very hot. Here is that risk. You heard Mark and Jacqueline say that not everybody is going to see a storm within this risk. We just have to keep you safe and cognizant that it could happen and it could escalate quickly because you have heat, like all of this. Yeah, everybody's been talking about the heat. Of course, it's a busy weekend, the hottest weekend so far in southern Ontario. We continue to track it here. Yes, we are in storm watch coverage here at the Weather Network. All hands on deck. You're watching us on TV. We're live streaming online, weathernetwork.com. Saphia Khambalia with you on this Sunday. There is lots to talk about coast to coast, but many of you in Southern Ontario talking about the heat, talking about the approaching storms now as well. Remember, heat, one of the main ingredients for all of this convection. Watch all the lightning and the thunder, and you can see some rain popping up. This is just in the last hour or so. Places like Strathroy, Stratford reporting some thunder. Some new areas under watches and warnings. We get to that in a minute. Take a look at what's happening to Eastern Ontario, Montreal. Some warnings there as well. Thunder, clouds brewing. The atmosphere is ripe and prime. We've been telling you about this for a little while. We want to keep everybody safe. New warning categories, especially in southern Quebec, including the Wakefield area. Many of you may be cottaging, vacationing there right now. Remember, if you do see some severe weather approaching, you want to seek shelter, go indoors where it is safe. If thunder roars, go indoors. To reiterate the difference between a watch and a warning, very important. A watch issued if conditions are favorable. A warning if the event is imminent or happening. New areas and watches and watches in southwestern Ontario, Kitchener, Essex, Sarnia. You've had some active weather the last little while as well. Potentially as well, lightning, and just look at the downpours you had in Sarnia. Last 24 hours or so, there was lightning, tons of lightning as well in the Oakville area. Watch what happens over the next 24 hours or so. If we're going to play this out to really keep you informed. Things clear by the late dusk hours into the overnight, and you will have some fresher air to be able to breathe a little bit easier tomorrow. Yeah, it's been very, very hot, feeling like the 40s. We show you just how hot in a minute. Remember, this is the risk area. We want to reiterate, not everybody here is going to see severe weather, but if severe weather approaches, it could escalate quickly. So we like to put a wide area and risk, especially in the northern shores of Lake Erie, Eastern Ontario, Ottawa. That's where you've had a lot of heat, right? So you're going to have this cold front come through. It's the perfect trigger to really cut through that moist, buoyant air. And yeah, feeling like the 40s in many places. It was feeling like 45 in Windsor. A degree or two warmer today than it was yesterday. Much of that warm air coming from the prairies. Did you know we had a confirmed tornado in southern Manitoba yesterday? We're going to show you those visuals in a little bit if you can stick around with us here at the Weather Network, but we want to let you know the risk is still there today, and if you are out enjoying this weather, if it is safe to do so, you can always send us your pictures and videos as we continue to track this. Yes, hello, Saphia Khambalia with you. We are in storm watch coverage here at the Weather Network. You can see the temperatures from coast to coast, a lot of moist, hot, humid air in southern Ontario fueling the fire for some potentially dangerous storms. We are here currently tracking a severe cluster of storms for you in southern Ontario, and you can see 30 in Ottawa, feeling much warmer. There's a quick look coast to coast before we really dive into the weather story for those of you in southern Ontario. Many people have been talking about the heat. It's a big weekend, right? Got Blue Jays game, you got the Pan Am Games, a lot of outdoor events for the Pan Am Games as well, with a ton of convection in the atmosphere over the past 24 hours. New areas in watch and warning category, and just in your pictures and your video. The heavy downpours, the lightning, loony to toony size hail possible with these systems as well. Brand new warnings just issued by Environment Canada. Strathroy, London area, western and eastern Middlesex County. You do have a severe thunderstorm warning currently. There are some cells moving through, and again, warnings East Algonquin Park. The difference between a watch and a warning, you ask. A watch means conditions are favorable for active weather to happen. A warning means that it either happening or imminent. We're going to show you that best with our active radar here on the ground. All that convection, storms moving north of Strathroy, north of London, moving eastward about 50 kilometers an hour. We have our boots on the ground to show you this with our personalities, eyes and ears, including Chrissy Vance. Yes, by all means, please enjoy your Sunday still, but know that you have some shelter to go to and plan for a plan B if the case does happen. Let's watch this play out over the next 24 hours or so. You can see the storm line formed, clearing out by dusk, late evening hours, later in the Ottawa Valley in southern Quebec, where you could have a second wave of potentially potent storms. There's a fresher air that will be replaced over the next 24 hours.
Storm watch.
Well, thanks for joining us for our live storm watch coverage here at the Weather Network. Saphia Khambalia with you. Are you watching us live streaming online, theweathernetwork.com as well? We have lots to talk about for you. Let's dive right into the weather story for those of you in southern Ontario. We are currently watching on radar supercells. We're going to get to that in a minute and tell you where. But first, we got to keep you safe with the watches and warnings. New under the warning category. Those of you in Ottawa South, some powerful storms coming through right now. Perth, Richmond, newly added into that red warning category, also through the Stratford area, western and eastern Middlesex County. Remember, a warning means that conditions are not just favorable, they are happening or they are imminent. We're going to help show you this with radar, help watch all of this play out. You can see some strong storms coming through around the 2 and 3 o'clock hour north of London. Lots of thunder reported, lightning as well, including maybe even some rotation in the cells south of Ottawa. Our teams are on the ground to bring you the very best coverage, including storm chasers. Mark and Jacqueline. Yes, many people could potentially be affected. Very, very populated areas these storms are coming through as well. We talked about a little bit of southwestern Ontario. Let's show you a little bit what's happening through the southern Ottawa area. You can see some cell, potentially even with some rotation just south of Ottawa. Those bright colors is really what you want to focus on there. And now let's help tell the story by what's going to happen over the next 24 hours or so. First watch, the fine storm system Sunday afternoon and into the evening. A little bit later through the Ottawa area, a second round coming in, and then fresher air to replace the hot, humid, muggy feeling air mass that we have had over the last little while. Remember, though, you do want to stay safe. These storms do have the potential to escalate quickly. Anywhere in the area of red could see slightly more severe storms. We want to point out eastern Ontario, the northern shores of Lake Erie as well, and stay with us for lots more coverage here on the Weather Network. Saphia Khambalia with you now. Thanks for joining us on this storm watch coverage, extended coverage. You can watch us online, streaming theweathernetwork.com as well. Lots of people in southern Ontario talking about the heat. It's a perfect fuel for the fire. For some very active weather, we have some new watches and warnings to tell you about. Now in the warning category, Woodstock, Kitchener, region of Waterloo, including Cambridge as well. We've told you about the warnings in the Ottawa area, and as you can see, they are changing by the minute. For some more in-depth analysis on this, we bring in our chief meteorologist, Chris Scott, joined by Kim McDonald, to look over the radars and really tell this story for us. Thanks, guys. Yeah, we'll continue to bring you more coverage just like that here on the Weather Network. Remember, this is the area that is in that risk category, and we will have a fresher air mass come in tomorrow after this cold front triggers. We are tracking active weather as we speak with this live extended storm watch coverage here on the Weather Network. Thanks for joining us. We hope that you're enjoying this weekend and staying safe out there. We're going to help you out with that if we can here at the Weather Network. New watches and warnings popping up literally as we speak, including warnings that have ended for the region of Waterloo, Woodstock, Kitchener. But now the storms are moving through the Brantford, Tillsonburg area. So be on the lookout if threatening weather does approach. You want to go indoors if thunder roars. Our teams are on the ground, staying safe as well, but trying to be your ears and eyes in this storm, including Chrissy Van. And we're going to get to Chrissy in just a minute.
Right now to the
happening or they are imminent. One of the triggers, one of the ingredients in the storm cook-off here has been the heat. You can check out the current temperatures. 29 degrees in Toronto, 25 in Hamilton, feeling much warmer for our Chrissy Van, who is there live.